Welcome to Preservation Travels with Lane and Kevin here at our Restoration Nation. We are in our own backyard this week. We are in Morrilton, Arkansas. Believe it or not, last night there were 4 inches of snow on the ground, and today it's all melted away, leaving us with slush and mush. But we're here to give you a tour of an absolutely incredible, amazingly historic home that's literally 15 minutes from our own backyards. So we're gonna offer it to you for sale, but you gotta get it before me. Who knows, maybe this is my forever home. We are standing in front of the beautiful Moose House. Yes, it's the Moose House. I'm standing on what's left of an original land grant to James Pike from President Monroe in 1812. Originally 170 acres, now there are 3.5 acres remaining and holding this incredible historic structure. But the house you see here didn't start its life here. This is actually the Markham Tavern. So the gentleman who owned this property during the Civil War went to Texas during the war, and when he came home, his home and land had been occupied by the Union troops. They had looted and burned the original house on this property. So what's a homeowner to do? You go over the ridge behind me and then one ridge more, and you find the Markham Tavern, built in 1820 to 30. It's abandoned, so you load it up on logs, you hook it to a mule team, and you pull it back and set it on the foundation of your home that's been burned. You build around it, and it becomes this beautiful federal period home behind us. So come on inside and take a look at the amazing evolution of this gorgeous structure that possibly could be yours by the time you watch the rest of this video. The history on this house begins before we even walk in the front door, with really special things that we rarely get here in our home state of Arkansas, starting with the amazing fieldstone chimneys. Take special note of those because you'll see hints of them again inside. All of our shutters, which sadly are not the originals and are no longer working, do have their original shutter dogs. And of course it retains its beautiful double gallery and original clapboard siding. Well, welcome into the Moose House. Here we stand in what was originally a tavern. The original structure was a 2-pile center hall floor plan. It's had some pretty major modifications over time, and we're going to show you those as we go through the house, but all in all, it still retains so much of its historic integrity that it is in fact on the National Register of Historic Places. Starting right here in the entryway, we have the gorgeous, quintessentially federal entryway with side lights and transom. Then we have the original federal stairway, and this is a gorgeous example of the beautiful newel post, handrail, and balustrades. These are literally, I know I've said this already, but they're quintessentially federal pieces, simplistic in style, sleek and elegant. But this staircase has received a major alteration in its lifetime in this home. It started its life on this side of the front hall, where now we have these gorgeous French doors. This home has been in possession of only 3 families in its lifetime, and the last family prior to the current owners had been American ambassadors to the Middle East. They traveled all over the world, and one of the places that they'd lived was France. And one of the things that the lady of the house loved about her time in France were all of the French doors. So when she returned here to her home in Arkansas, she wanted some magnificent French doors in her home. So they switched the rise of the staircase so they could add these French doors into the informal parlor. Now remember, this home was a tavern, so while we do have a formal and informal parlor, these originally would have simply been tavern rooms. So you would have had two separate tavern rooms where eating and drinking would have gone on the regular. The rooms behind probably would have been private tavern rooms that could have been rented out by individuals who wanted to do private dining, have private meetings. But this space does not function like the houses that we normally see. It would not have originally. But let's take a look at how it flows today. First, I want to go into this front parlor that has this wallpaper that I love. I wish I could find it today. Come with me. The evolution of this home is really evident in this room. We still retain our incredible 9/9 hand-blown windows. The fact that those have made it not only just through the 175 years of the history of this home, but that they made it over 2 ridges for this home to find its final resting place is unbelievable. But then you'll see this closet right here with this great skeleton key and lock. A little close up there. This room being a Federal period home, that closet would not have been there to begin with. It would have mirrored this side of the room with the window that we have here. Symmetry, as you know, was so important. So that closet we know is a later addition. However, we do have our original magnificent and monumental Federal period mantelpiece. I love the size of the mantles in this home. Even in the very informal rooms upstairs, we still have very grand mantles. And here we have fieldstone hearth stones. Beautiful. Again, we just don't see these in Arkansas. That's why I'm so excited. We never see these in Arkansas, and here they are. But evolution of the home. This is a light fixture from about 1910. These are very, very similar. They have the same japanned finish that we have in the light fixtures in Melly. So once electricity was added to this home, we know electricity probably came in around 1910, and there's one of the light fixtures to prove it. Let's go across the way to the other parlor in this house, other drinking room, and we'll see what's happened over there. Here we are in the second of the public spaces for this house. This one is smaller and slightly less opulent in design. You see a smaller fireplace. So it makes me wonder if this wasn't a private area even when the home was a tavern. There's so many mysteries about these properties of this age, and especially properties that were not originally designed to be homes that we just can't answer, but they make for such magnificent, magnificent mysteries. All around the room, you see the beautiful 9/9 original wood glass windows. And then right through here, these gorgeous original blown glass French doors. We have the first of 2 or maybe 3 sunrooms. Come take a look. This space was added in about 1910. You want to know how we could almost date that for sure? These are original light fixtures to that period. So somewhere between 1910 and 1920, this space was added, and it is an absolutely glorious space to take your morning coffee. I love the ceiling fan. This is an original first edition ceiling fan that came out of one of 2 Carnegie libraries that were in the state of Arkansas. The other one now lives in Eureka Springs, and this one lives right here in the Moose House in Morrilton, Arkansas. Look at the view you have out these windows. This koi pond might might be the thing that I would never ever leave. You would find me right here on this window seat, sipping hot tea, reading a book, and staring at my fish all through the seasons. And this is just one of these beautiful spaces in this house. Let's go find some more. We're still here in the entryway. And there was just something I had to point out for you. So for those of us who have a little bit of a macabre sense of humor almost, I had to point out this fantastic couch. They call this the dying couch because we know for a fact that at least 2 people have died while they're sitting on it. Nothing gruesome, nothing mysterious, just natural deaths occurred right here on the dying couch. So if this is your house, make sure you make them leave you the dying couch. Come on through to the dining room. Well, here we are in the dining room of the Moose House. As you can see, it's a grand space. It's very large. So that indicates for me that this would originally have been built to accommodate a lot of diners. Imagine, if you will, pub tables scattered throughout this space, feeding hungry travelers as they came through the original tavern. But now it serves as a glorious, grand, formal dining room. I love this mantle. Now, the design on this mantle is a little bit later than the ones in the front room. The front room mantles, although we have a build date of the tavern of the 1830s, I have my suspicions that the space may be a little bit earlier because those mantles are much more indicative of the 1810, 1820 period. And this mantle gives us a little bit more of that 1830s vibe. I absolutely love it. There's a mystery on this side of the room as well. Here we have a beautiful door, raised panel with side lights. This doesn't belong here, really. When they added the sun porch on one side of the house, they obviously added an additional sun porch to retain that symmetry that is indicative of the federal period. But where did this come from? It's blown glass, it's raised panel, so it fits the period of the home, but the height gives us a clue. I suspect that this actually sat in the division between the front of the central hall and the back of the central hall, now where that dying couch is. That was the original end of the house, and this would have been the exit to the back hall. So we would have once again had that central hall with the central doorway in the front. This would have mimicked the central doorway in the back for that cross breeze that we're always talking about. And when that space was extended at some point, the doorway was moved to accommodate an entrance into this secondary sun porch. So let's take a look at this space. Well, I'm a sucker for a sun porch, aren't you? And I don't really care when they were added to a house. Every house should have one. We can tell obviously these weren't original because the original cladding is exposed here on the interior wall of this room. But what a beautifully done addition this is. These stained glass windows were imported, one from England, one from Ireland. They date to around 1910 to 1920, so obviously they're anachronistic with the original build of the house, but do I think they make a beautiful addition and are in keeping with the evolution of a property? Absolutely. This porch is surrounded by a huge deck with a pergola and a hot tub. So I mean, really, what more could you want? Now, let's take a look at the kitchen. Well, here we are in what is a very modern kitchen in a very historic home. This kitchen was completely redone down to the studs and dirt floor in the early mid-2000s, but you have very little work to do here, if any at all. It functions beautifully, it flows wonderfully, and has all the amenities you could possibly want in a kitchen. And I love the range. I don't cook, have no purpose for it whatsoever, but I'd sure love to have it. 2 sinks, dishwasher, all of it conveniently hidden behind paneled appliances. This is where we exit to the servant stairs. So this space could easily be counted as a third sunroom if you just really wanted to. I do, but here we have a powder room, the laundry room is here, and then this is the entrance to the servant stairs. One of the things I love about these extraordinarily historic homes are their proportions. We can see how much smaller people were. As you come up the stairs, I'm only 5'7", but I have to duck to get up onto this landing. As we come up this landing and curve around this beautiful Federal period staircase with banister, you're gonna see the original floors for the upstairs. This is where the tavern keeper's family would have lived, but it's also where, if they rented rooms to travelers, they would have existed. So come on up here and take a look at these spaces. Remember, we were just talking about proportions and tiny people in the 1830s? Look at the door I'm standing next to. Again, I'm 5'7". So this door is what, 5'10", possibly? But what I love is it has its original locking mechanism to enter onto the second floor gallery. Let's take a look at the private family spaces up here. Here we are in what would be the main bedroom. There are elements of this bedroom that I find absolutely fascinating. First of all, these barreled ceilings. I'm not quite sure when this particular design element would have been added or if it's original, but they are absolutely beautiful and they give a sense of height to a space that's actually quite short. The ceilings up here are probably no more than 7.5 feet, but with the barrel effect, they feel still quite grand and tall. Now, let's talk about that fieldstone chimney that I told you about. Here we can see it. We have flagstone on the hearth, but we have this beautiful red carved fieldstone from the chimney exposed around the firebox. I love it. As you can see, even though the mantelpieces are smaller in these upstairs rooms and a little more simple, they're still very, very tall. Again, almost to my shoulder in this space. Another closet that's been added at a later date. That closet would not have been there originally because of symmetry. We would have needed it to butt in and have a window, so from the exterior, this space was symmetrical. But of course, as time goes by, we need closets, and that one's a cedar closet. Come on through and let me show you the sitting room and then the main bathroom up here. This is an amazing space right off of the main bedroom. It would make a wonderful reading nook, study, TV area. Huge closet here, lots of storage, and again, another original mantelpiece. I can't believe that there are so many original elements extant in this house, knowing the journey that it had to take to get here. So that makes it even more special. And again, we have that gorgeous flagstone hearth that's still exposed, still in place after pushing 200 years. Come in here and let me show you this enormous and wonderful bathroom that they've added. This is the most modern of modern bathrooms, but it fits beautifully into the space. We have the beadboard ceiling that they've done. This is an enormous cedar closet, a gigantic shower, little potty closet. You know I love marble, and all of the vanities have gorgeous polished marble tops on them. And then on this side of the space, we have an exit to the servants' stairs. So a wonderful space that functions and flows right across this main bedroom. Let's go look at the other bedroom that's up here. Here we are in the secondary bedroom upstairs, once again with these wonderful barreled ceilings. Such an interesting feature. We still have our original windows. Since the ceilings are so low up here, we don't have 9/9, we have 6/6, but they are original and they do have their glass in them, the original glass in them still. Behind me, you'll see 2 closets. Don't think they're original, and one of the ways we can tell that is from the glass doorknobs that both of them feature. If I were guessing, I'd say these were added in the 1930s by the ambassador's family who had need of closets in their upstairs bedrooms. And then again, another amazing, beautiful federal period mantelpiece, once again, with that gorgeous fieldstone fireplace. This house is packed with history, inside and out. It is a show place, one of a kind, and it could be yours. Let's talk about that outside. I love that this property has some of its extant original buildings. This is the groundskeeper's cottage, and we know that it belonged to a man named Philip. He was a free man of color who worked here on the property and was sort of the overall groundskeeper, property manager for many, many, many years, and this was his home. If you'll note, Philip's house has the same high-style mantelpiece that the dining room has in the main house. It's a great space. Now it's being used as a study for the current homeowner, hence all of the beautiful built-in bookcases. But this looks like it could be a great mother-in-law's quarter to me. This is one of 5 outbuildings on this property. We'll show you the rest. Look, we found some snow to show you. It's a rarity here in Arkansas. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible tour of the Moose House, originally the Markham Tavern, built in 1830. This house deserves a wonderful caretaker. So is it going to be you or is it going to be me? Well, one of us can take it on for $439,000. That includes the beautiful, completely restored house. It's been redone top to bottom, electrical, plumbing, foundation, roof, the whole 9 yards. 3.3 acres, possibly an additional 2 acres across the street, and 5 outbuildings. Can't beat that. You want to join us? Come be our neighbor. See you next time.